Hello, everyone. In November 2011, the entertainment world was shaken by the sudden passing of Dwight Arrington Myers, better known to fans across the world as Heavy D. A beloved rapper, actor, and producer, Heavy D had become an icon through his warm personality, upbeat music, and influence across hip-hop, television, and film. As the news of his death spread, tributes poured in from every corner of the industry. Artists, actors, and fans shared memories of the man they affectionately called Hev. He was known for being a bridge builder, someone who opened doors for others and brought joy wherever he went. When details of his funeral were announced, many expected a large turnout from fellow entertainers, particularly those from projects he had touched, like the hit 1990s sitcom Living Single. But when photos from Heavy D's memorial began to circulate online, fans quickly noticed something that sparked conversation. The cast of Living Single seemed to be missing. The absence of those familiar faces, Queen Latifah, Kim Coles, Kim Fields, Erica Alexander, John Henton, and T.C. Carson, surprised many. After all, Heavy D had shared not only television space with them, but also deep creative roots within that same era of Black television and hip-hop culture. The question echoed across forums, social media threads, and fan discussions. Why didn't the Living Single cast attend Heavy D's memorial? To understand that question, one must first remember who Heavy D was and how his career intertwined with theirs. Born in Jamaica in 1967 and raised in Mount Vernon, New York, Heavy D rose to fame in the 1980s as the charismatic frontman of Heavy D and The Boys. With hits like Now That We Found Love and Somebody for Me, he brought a positive, party-driven energy to hip-hop, proving that rap could be both fun and commercially successful without losing authenticity. Yet Heavy D was more than a musician. He was an actor, a businessman, and a cultural connector. His charm and professionalism earned him opportunities in film and television, including appearances on shows like A Different World and Living Single. By the time Living Single premiered in 1993, Heavy D was already respected not only as a rapper, but as a creative force capable of bridging the worlds of music and TV. The show, which starred Queen Latifah as Khadijah James, was one of the defining sitcoms of the 1990s, centering on six friends navigating careers, love, and friendship in New York City. Heavy D's guest appearances and musical contributions helped amplify the cultural blend that the series represented: urban sophistication with humor, music, and Black excellence woven throughout. His connection to the cast, particularly to Queen Latifah, who came from a similar hip-hop background, made him part of the extended Living Single family. When Heavy D died on November 8, 2011, the cause was later revealed to be a pulmonary embolism, a blood clot that traveled from his leg to his lungs. He had just returned home from a trip to London, where he performed one of his last major shows, his first performance in years, at the BET Hip Hop Awards, tribute to Michael Jackson. In interviews following his death, many in the industry remembered his kindness and work ethic. The funeral and memorial were held in his hometown of Mount Vernon, New York, drawing some of the biggest names in entertainment: Diddy, Mary J. Blige, Jay-Z, Will Smith, Queen Pen, and many others. The service, filled with emotion, music, and reflection, celebrated a man who had touched countless lives. But fans noticed the absence of the Living Single cast. Online discussions quickly turned from grief to curiosity and speculation. Was there a rift between Heavy D and the cast? Were they invited? Were there behind-the-scenes tensions that fans never knew about? While no official explanation ever surfaced from the cast members themselves, many have tried to piece together what could have caused their absence. It's important to note that television relationships often don't mirror real-life closeness. On-screen chemistry can exist even if personal relationships fade once filming ends. By 2011, Living Single had been off the air for over a decade. The cast members had gone their separate ways. Queen Latifah had become a major film star and talk show host. Kim Fields was directing, Erica Alexander was pursuing new acting roles, and others were working on stage or in production. It's entirely possible that while Heavy D shared time with them on set, their professional paths had long since diverged. In Hollywood, where projects and collaborations come and go, even strong bonds can weaken with distance. Explanation for their absence could have been simple logistics. Heavy D's death was sudden, and his memorial was organized quickly. Cast members might have been in different cities or even countries at the time, committed to filming schedules or other obligations that couldn't easily be changed. Queen Latifah, for instance, was often traveling or shooting during that period. Flights, timing, or family matters could easily make attendance impossible. Another factor might have been emotional difficulty. Sometimes, grief doesn't manifest as public mourning. For some, attending a funeral, especially one that's highly publicized, can be overwhelming. Certain people prefer to grieve privately, away from cameras and crowds. It's possible that some cast members felt it would be more respectful to honor Heavy D in their own way, rather than appear at a celebrity-packed memorial. There's also the question of communication. Funerals in the entertainment world are often coordinated by family members or close management circles, and not every acquaintance or co-star receives a formal invitation or clear notice. Heavy D's inner circle was largely tied to the music industry, not television. If the Living Single cast wasn't in regular touch with him or his family, they may not have been on the official list, or might have learned of the service too late to make arrangements. Fans sometimes assume that all celebrities are instantly informed about one another's lives, but in reality, contact information changes, and communication can easily break down. Misunderstandings or assumptions, like expecting others to spread the word, can leave even friends out of the loop. Another possibility involves the dynamics of public image. Funerals for celebrities often attract heavy media coverage, and not everyone feels comfortable in that spotlight, particularly when the relationship with the deceased might not have been close in recent years. Some may fear being accused of showing up for attention, while others may simply want to avoid tabloid speculation. If any Living Single cast members hadn't spoken with Heavy D in years, they might have felt that appearing would seem insincere. Sometimes staying away can be an act of respect, especially if you fear your presence might shift focus from the person being honored to gossip about you. There's also the matter of family wishes. Occasionally, families choose to keep funerals intimate, limiting attendance to certain groups, often to avoid chaos or maintain privacy. If Heavy D's family emphasized a smaller service, focused on close personal ties, some in the broader entertainment community might have stepped back voluntarily. Respecting those boundaries doesn't mean indifference. It can mean honoring what the family wants most in their moment of grief. Still, the absence of the living single cast didn't go unnoticed. Fans who grew up watching the show remembered Heavy D's appearances and his friendship with Queen Latifah. To them, it seemed natural that the show's stars would want to pay their respects in person. Online discussions about the issue continue even years later. Some argue that their absence was understandable. Life gets complicated, and public figures can't always meet fan expectations. Others remain disappointed, feeling that the moment called for a visible show of solidarity. The truth, however, is that none of us know what private gestures might have been made. Some may have sent flowers, messages, or donations in his memory. Others might have chosen to honor him quietly through prayer, reflection, or simply by celebrating his music and work. In many ways, the entire discussion reveals how audiences project their own emotions onto celebrities. Because Living Single represented friendship, unity, and support on screen, fans wanted to see that same unity reflected off screen in real life. But life rarely follows the script of a sitcom. Relationships evolve, priorities change, grief expresses itself differently for everyone. It's also worth noting that by 2011, the entertainment industry itself had changed dramatically from the 1990s. The cast members of Living Single were scattered across different parts of the country, engaged in new careers and family lives. Heavy D, though deeply respected, had not been in the same social circles as some of them for years. The bonds that once connected them during the show's run may simply have faded over time, without animosity, but also without the closeness that would prompt immediate attendance at a funeral. The question of why the Living Single cast didn't attend Heavy D's memorial has no single definitive answer. What it does show is how fans' expectations often collide with the private realities of the people they admire. Heavy D's funeral was a moment of collective remembrance, but remembrance takes many forms. For some, it means showing up physically. For others, it means cherishing memories in quiet reflection. The absence of familiar faces doesn't erase affection or respect. It simply highlights how complex human connections can be, especially within the fast-moving world of entertainment. Heavy D's legacy endures regardless of who was present that day. His influence on hip-hop, his kindness, and his crossover success in television and film remain unquestioned. He broke barriers, showed that rap could coexist with positivity and grace, and inspired a generation of artists. The Living Single cast, too, continues to be celebrated for their groundbreaking work and representation. Their paths may have diverged, but both Heavy D and the show he once appeared on helped define an era when Black entertainment was vibrant, proud, and unapologetically itself. Perhaps someday, more detailed accounts will emerge. Maybe one of the cast members will share in an interview or memoir how they felt at the time, what prevented them from attending, or how they honored Heavy D privately. Until then, all we can do is remember both the man and the legacy he left behind. What matters most isn't who stood in the church pews that day, but the impact Heavy D had on those who loved his work. His joyful presence, his mentorship, and his music remain alive in the hearts of fans everywhere. In the end, attendance at a memorial is just one way to show love. Carrying forward someone's spirit through kindness and creativity is another. Heavy D's memory continues to live through every beat, every smile, and every person he inspired. And that's a legacy no absence can erase. Thanks for watching.